prime rib, stuck it in the oven all day. We came home from work. She made this beautiful dinner for me, gave me a beautiful bottle of wine. And like 2.5 hours later, I was in the emergency room almost dying from a really bad case of food poisoning.
Oh, man. Yeah, you got to watch out for prime rib. You got to do it right.
Well, I learned my lesson, okay? Like I said, she was always involved in working, so she didn't like cooking too much. You would imagine with 8 kids, she would love to cook, but, you know, she liked making cakes. And she was really good. She took a course in that. But I will tell you this. The way my work system was, being in radio, or when I wasn't in radio, doing the electronic thing, I was working weird hours. So I started eating TV dinners. TV dinner for lunch, TV dinner for, dinner. The salt content is so freaking high on that stuff. And if you look at the calories from fat, you're going to gain weight.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, those young millennials out there have no idea what TV dinners and TV trays were like. It was a revolution back in the 50s. You remember that, Gary? We're sitting down and we could actually watch television, some kind of a like Ed Sullivan show or something, and eat dinner. That was a big deal. It
was. You know, I couldn't wait. I'd have to literally, when I was a kid, beg my mom, hey, I don't want you to fix dinner tonight. Get us a TV dinner. I remembered aluminum, they came in aluminum tray, and they actually weren't, well, they weren't the best, but they weren't bad. But, I remember sitting in the front room, right, with that little, like, 6-inch round TV tube. Yeah. And, and watching, reruns, even back then, of Leave It to Beaver. But it was cool. I sat there with my TV dinner. I thought I was cool and awesome. I'd go to school the next day, and I said, guess what? I've got to watch TV and eat a TV dinner.
Yeah. And don't you remember that apple crunch dessert that they had, that one little square in the middle of the TV dinner that you saved for the end because it was the best?
Oh, yeah. Another thing, Bird's Eye came out back in the same time frame. They called it an instant milkshake. And you would take a glass of milk, put half a glass of milk in it, and you take this it came in a plastic carton, right? And it probably made 3 or 4 milkshakes. And you take this stuff out, and then you mix it in with your milk, and you had a milkshake. Well, it didn't go over very well because people realized you just go buy ice cream, right? And pour yourself some milk and put your couple of spoonfuls of ice cream in it and blend it, and there you are.
Oh, yeah. Oh, those were the ultimate, the hard-packed ice cream, the cheap kind that you just buy at the local grocery store, and get yourself some whole milk and just mix it up. I mean, of course, this is before blenders and all that stuff, so you're just jamming it with your fork and your knife and your spoon. But, boy, those taste good. Those are just the ultimate milkshakes.
Oh, I think a lot of food tastes better then, maybe because I was younger. But I think all the stuff nowadays, I hate to say it tastes artificial. And it's bad for you.
Yeah.
Definitely. When I went to the doctor here last week, the doctor said, are you still drinking 2 bottles of Coke? And I said, okay, no, I'm not drinking Coke. And then he says, you're lying to me. And I go, no, I'm not drinking 2 bottles of Coke. And he goes, look, in the last 2 weeks, you only lost 3.5 pounds. You're drinking Coke. From what you're telling me, what you're eating, you'd have to be drinking 2 Cokes. And he goes, do you realize how many calories are in 2 Cokes? That's like a 2-day supply of calories for a normal person.
Yeah.
But I can tell you.
Let alone the sugar content and all that.
I did not lie. I drank 2.5 bottles a day. I didn't drink, and I knew he knew I was lying. Now, I got a challenge out here for Dave Scott on Space Out Radio.
Oh, yes, you do.
Okay, he's growing his hair long and a beard. Well, guess what? I'm going to challenge you, which one of us? Okay, Dave, are you going to be able to grow your hair as long as mine by August? Or are you going to get it cut? Are you going to be a wimp and have that hair just chopped off before August. I guarantee you I'm going to win. My hair, I think, is actually longer than yours, because when I was in the store the other day, somebody came up behind me and said, "Ma'am, can I help you?"
Oh my! Well, that will be a great contest to see. You've got You got 8 months to go here on this contest till August. That'll be real cool. Then maybe what we should do is have some kind of a ceremony where we have both of you guys on Facebook Live and we actually do the tail of the tape or something.
Yeah, well, I'm just curious which one of us is going to be able to grow it longest, and which one of us, our wives, are going to make us get a haircut.
Yes. Yeah, Mrs. SOR, she runs the roost out there, so it'll be fun to see if Dave can get permission to enter this contest.
Now, I'm really disappointed on you. The other night when you were doing your show, you were going to talk about those scratch marks on the ankles and wrists, and you didn't bring it up. What in the heck was that all about?
Yes. Well, thank you for reminding me, because I actually even took photos. Actually, Lee Strauss, member of the UFOI team, our intrepid photographer, mountain man guy, started the whole thing out last week when he posted a picture of his the inside of his left wrist. And there was like an abrasion, kind of like a cut that had started to heal laterally across his wrist. He posted that photo and said, "I woke up with this in this morning," and also he posted some handprints that were on the wall next to his bed that fluoresced, under a blue light.
That is
black.
Interesting.
And so he posted those, and I'm just going, "Wow, that's strange." I mean, these were like very thin handprint fingers, by the way. It was kind of interesting. I can't remember if, I think there's 5, as far as fingers go, which kind of strange. But then the next day, I wake up with the very similar scratch mark on my the anterior part of my right high ankle on my right leg. And so I took a picture of that and posted it up on Facebook along with his. And people can actually go, if they want to see it, even while we're talking, they can go to nightdreamstalkradio.com and look at the Night Dreams website. And I posted them, those photos up there. They got to scroll down a little bit, but they'll find them. Or they can look at them on the UFOI team Facebook page as well. They're just kind of strange and very similar. I just couldn't. Matter of fact, they're almost like little kind of dots in a line that show some kind of an abrasion across my right ankle and his left wrist.
Now, I got to ask you a question. Was he at Mount Adams with you?
Was he at Mount Adams? Yes, he was. As a matter of fact, the interesting thing with Lee Strauss was that he was he brings all of his high-tech camera gear. You've talked with Lee yourself with, your camera background about some of the gear that he has. He's got stop action photography. He's got night vision video. He's got infrared and all that kind of stuff. He sets them up on tripods, but he also has these big monitors that sits on the tripod, so you don't have to look through the lens of the actual cameras to see what's going on. And he was at ECETI Ranch at Mount Adams when this massive UFO came flying over the valley there, only about 2,000 feet high, by the way, because it was below the cloud level. And it was flaring up like amazing, like, a big white light that all of a sudden would like glow 20 times brighter and then go back down and then glow again. It did this about 4 times. And when it was right in front of us or on top of us at about a 45-degree angle in front of the camera lens, it made this giant flash, almost as if someone had taken an old Instamatic camera and flashed a picture at us from this craft. And people from the other end of the valley there, where we're out in the Skywatch area, said that they actually saw a blue laser beam come out of that light and head in our direction. And we got this on tape. Lee Strauss has this on videotape now, and we're going to have to be putting that up on our website soon. But he was also the guy that went to the top of Mount Adams that weekend that we were down there, and actually climbed to the top and spent the night on the mountain with his camera gear and with all of his mountain gear. And they actually had a UFO or something illuminate their tent that night from the top of the tents down. So it wasn't like someone was shining flashlights at them at 10,000 feet, coming at them if they were climbing the mountain. This was coming straight down onto their tents. And in the morning, Philip Wade, who was the director of Ambition Pictures, who was there with the UFOI team filming this entire event, he had an amazing abrasion, a big red welt on his lower spine when he woke up in the morning that he didn't have the night before. And the funny thing about the whole event on top of the mountain is that their young photographer, about 20 years old, he's a real in-shape kind of guy carrying the cameras up there for the crew. He woke up, he says, at about 3 a.m., and saw these lights coming down from the sky onto their tents. And he remembers taking his phone out and checking the time. That's why he knew it was 3 a.m. And then for some reason, he goes back to sleep. He doesn't tell anyone about the event that was going on that night. And, of course, then Philip wakes up in the morning and has got this giant mark on his back. And it's just a strange event. So Lee Strauss has been all over the place with the UFOI team and has some dramatic footage, which you can check out on our UFOI team Facebook page as well.
Well, I hate to say it, boy, we got a lot of people on Facebook watching us too. But you know what? I really still think, okay, unless you went out there and took an hour pee that night or morning, okay, something is really weird about this whole freaking situation. Now, I'm going to say what information I got from Troy Bacon, the information I got from you, and I still got to ask you a question. Is your wrist, does it go crazy yet with a compass, or has that gone back to normal?
I should check that again, Gary, because you had me do that after the Takalak Lake Mount Adams incident, and it did respond. There was this kind of an abrasion I had on my wrist, and it did respond to the compass when I put it up to it. But I haven't checked it lately. I'll have to do that. Matter of fact, I'm going to suggest that Lee Strauss do the same thing with his wrist, and that abrasion that he had just the other day. Oh, I forgot to ask him about that.
No, shame on you.
Yeah, we'll do the same thing with my ankle abrasion as well. Who knows what's going on here? But, if we've got some time, I can relate some of those weird missing time things about the Mount Adams incident at Takalak Lake as well. But I've never had as much paranormal activity happen to the UFOI team on one expedition at one time that we did back in August of this year at Mount Adams.
Now, I got to jump in here. Now, listeners, I want you to realize, now, my feeling from everything he's going to tell you, I feel that he was abducted. I think he got a free ride somewhere where they took him up and beamed him up, checked him out, and then put him back to bed nice and comfy. And there's reasons why I'm going to say this. Talking to Troy, talking to Michael. Now, he had some real freaking weird things happen. And one is that the type of watch he wears is a phosphorus-coated numbers on it. So, if you're out in bright light or you go into a bright lit, at night time, if you held it up to your light in your bedroom or house or whatever, it would charge it up. And for maybe 20, 30 minutes or 45 minutes, you could read the dial. Now, his weird things was going on. Here he was in bed. He looks at his watch at one point, and the thing is glowing after hours of no light. But you know what? What I find so strange, he went out to go pee right next to the tent trailer he was in. Okay? It doesn't take an hour to go to the bathroom, my friend, unless you got real bad